Adoption of agenda for regular meeting. Under provisions of the Public Meetings Law of the State of Missouri, the board must adopt by roll call vote an agenda that includes a time, date, place, and tentative agenda for the meeting. A copy of the notice and agenda for this meeting was posted on Monday, April 6, 2015 at the Administration Center, 1005 Waterford Drive, Florissant, Missouri. At the same time, copies of the notice and agenda were mailed to major radio and television stations, to 4 newspapers, to all municipalities, schools in the district, and posted on the district website. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move we adopt the agenda.
Motion's been made by Ms. Hogshead, seconded by Mr. Ebert.
Mr. Ebert. Aye. Mr. Brown. Aye. Ms. Schrader.
Aye.
Secretary votes aye. Ms. Hogshead.
Aye.
And Mr. President.
Aye.
I would like to have for the minutes that Dr. Thurman is still ill and is not here tonight, and ask that she be excused.
Good vote.
Adoption of agenda for closed meeting. Section 610.021 of Missouri law provides for discussion of certain agenda items in a closed meeting. Notice of the proposed closed meeting, including the agenda item to be discussed, was posted. The board, by roll call vote, must authorize holding the closed meeting and approve the proposed agenda by reference to each subject to be discussed. The agenda for the closed meeting is legal. Section 610.021.1. Personnel, section 610.021.3. Do I have
I move we adopt the agenda for closed meeting.
Second.
motion been made by Ms. Hogshead, second by Mr. Schrader.
Mr. Ebert. Aye. Mr. Brown. Aye. Mr. Schrader.
Aye.
Secretary votes aye. Ms. Hogshead.
Aye.
And Mr. President.
Aye. All right, we're going to jump into the recognitions. We have McClure North student named National Merit Scholar, Dr. Hopper.
About sick today, so I am reading it for him. Would Melissa Heidegger please come forward? And her parents, please. This is Melissa Henniger, and Melissa is a McClure North student, and she was selected from among 16,000 students across the United States for a prestigious National Merit Scholarship. She was selected by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation based on her abilities, skills, and accomplishments, including her academic record, 2 sets of test scores, written recommendations, involvement in school activities, and leadership, and an essay. Congratulations. Congratulations, Melissa.
If Mrs. Crawford would come forward, please. We have a McClure alumni who donated $10,000 to his alma mater. Yay!
Mr. Paul Land, a 1973 alumni of McClure High School, recently gave a generous gift of $10,000 to McClure. It was to be used to help students obtain leadership and athletic opportunities. In his letter, Mr. Land recalled fondly his time at McClure and a certain faculty member who coached his soccer team, Mr. Ralph Signego. Mr. Ralph Signego also still substitutes in our district to this day. Mr. Signego inspired him to achieve success through leadership roles in his professional career. We're humbled by Mr. Land's generosity. We're honored to put these funds to great use at McClure High School to benefit our students so that they too may enjoy positive memories and opportunities afforded by Mr. Land and the rest of our proud McClure alumni. I just would like to add an update to this. Mr. Land and I had a telephone conversation right before spring break, and we discussed the generosity of his contribution and what great things we could do with his contribution. And upon my return from spring break, I discovered that he had decided to double his donation. Oh my goodness. So he sent me another check for $10,000.
Sims would please come forward. We have a Cool Valley science teacher who received Monsanto's Teacher of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Cool Valley Elementary School science teacher Tanya Brown will receive the 2015 Academy of Science Monsanto Teacher of the Year Award tomorrow evening at the 2015 Academy of Science St. Louis Outstanding Scientist Awards Dinner at the Chase Park Plaza. Mrs. Brown for this honor from among 200 nominees in the St. Louis region. With her award, Mrs. Brown will receive $2,000 for professional development and $5,000 for classroom supplies.
Is her family here with her? Could they come forward?
Her daughter's here.
You didn't even get her in the picture.
Oh, my
Good evening to everyone. Starting Wednesday, March the 18th, our students embark upon a experience of a lifetime. And I'm going to ask those students to come up and our teacher to come up as I read. Starting Wednesday, March 18th through Wednesday, March 25th, one student from each Ferguson-Florissant High School participated in a visit to our nation's capital, as well as a 54-mile walking classroom from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. Deanna Hopper, McClure North, Imani Irving, McClure South Berkeley, and Vaughn Ross McClure. Also with MSB Social Studies teacher, Ms. Michelle Grigsby. Joined students from across the nation on this trip. The group visited the United States Department of Education, where they met Education Secretary Arnie Duncan and other top officials, and stopped at several historic sites along the way from Selma to Montgomery. Each student has participated and prepared a brief presentation to share about their experiences. And I would like to ask their parents to stand for trusting us with your students for that time. A little bit emotional about this whole thing and just really overwhelmed with the opportunity that was given to our students and all the support that came along with it. We're going to ask each student to share briefly a memorable experience. I know it all was, but just kind of pick one. And then Ms. Grigsby.
Alright, so if I would have to say my most memorable moment, it would have to be the point where we actually reached Montgomery. And it was like a concert for us. So it was like a jazz musician, he was playing, and it was the whole Montgomery, it seemed like they came out to cheer us on because we finally reached Montgomery. And once we got back, we were no longer camping out, so we had slept in St. Jude. It was a former school, and all of us were all sad because we were no longer being together. We all became a family in a sense. So we all had to become we had to separate. So we all came up with ideas on how we can keep the whole movement going and everything. But that's pretty much what my most memorable.
Hello, my name is Imani, as she said. The whole thing for me was touching and memorable, but if I had to pick one part, I would say we slept in tents at one of the national parks. And at that national park, they had a museum of the whole Selma to Montgomery and whatever, all of that it was about. And so I didn't know they had a museum until the second day. And when we walked in there, just the way it was set up and the presents, you know, we hear about it and they tell us about it in school, but to actually see it for yourself and see what they went through and see Emmett Till and how he looked and just to walk through that, because it was, if you guys would have walked through it, it really touched your heart, and you actually, it was like a walk through the past, the way they had the museum set up. And so it was just really like invigorating, and it made me stronger to do the walk for the next day. 'Cause I think that particular day we were all hurt for doing 12.7 rounds. So it made me stronger to actually persevere and do that next walk.
Hi, I'm Deanna Harper. My most memorable moment actually occurred at the very beginning of the march, before we even began marching. In fact, one of the park rangers asked us, you know, why are you marching? You know, you have people saying this, saying that, and you had an older lady raise her hand and he called on her and she said, because I marched 50 years ago. And you know, we were all just like, yes, you know, this is amazing. And another older lady raised her hand. She was an older white woman, and he called on her, and she said, because my father wouldn't let me march 50 years ago. Which was just extraordinary for me to hear, because if nothing else, it showed me that we are moving forward. You know, like, the past is always going to be, you know, remember, we're always going to have to cherish it and keep it fresh in our memories just so that it doesn't occur again. But at least we can get past it and move forward to a brighter future for the next generation after us, for our children and our grandchildren.
I'm Mrs. Casey, and I was with them through this journey. It was very emotional for me at times. Probably the day that I broke all the way down was the day we did the first 12.7 miles. And we were walking down the highway, and when we got to our last stop, which was the interpretive center, there were people standing out on the highway, and they were cheering us on, and they were screaming and hollering, and it just made me feel, one, that everything that goes on in your life, we complain for no reason. We always have people that are going to cheer for us and see us through all the bad times and even some of the good times. So I just felt as though this was a catalyst for me to move on, to do better things, to explore some other opportunities, starting youth groups, doing more things like this with the students. It just made me, for real, a better teacher. When I came back, I was ready to go. I'm ready to go. So that was most memorable for me. We have a video presentation of all of, not all, we probably took about 500 pictures while we were there. But, we picked the most memorable pictures and we put it together in a slideshow. So I wanted everyone to see those pictures of what we went through. So we sure. say thank you to all the people that donated money and sent us well wishes on the way. We were gone for 8 days over spring break, so it took a lot of time, but it was well worth it. We came back with memories that are going to last a lifetime, and I still remember stuff today, and then I, start writing things down because I don't want to ever forget any of the things that happened to us on the trip. So we made a thank you card for our wonderful people who helped us on this journey. Yes, you would give those. So this is for Mr. Lee. Mr. LaRue. And this is for Mr. Chabot. And this is for Airmark Food Services. And this one is for the Ferguson-Florissant Foundation.
Oh, man. I would be remiss if I did not mention several people that are not here. This entire opportunity was funded by the National Park Service. 8 days, they funded this trip for our students. And it was Addie Richburg, the national president for the Alliance for Faith and Justice, that said, "Gwen, I want you to find students to go." So I thank her also for that. This presentation is for the Ferguson-Florissant School District. The artwork is ironically by a person by the name of Michael Anthony Brown. Thank you.
Before we start into the board and strategic plans update, I just want to remind everybody we do have the public comment cards that are available on the back table. So if you wish to come up and address the board, please ask that you fill it out, raise your hand, and somebody will be picking those up for you. I also want to take this opportunity to remind those who wish to make those public comments tonight during the board meeting that there is a 3-minute time limit. In the interest of fairness to all who wish to address the board and adherence to board policy, and this does not apply to us, by the way, for the 3 minutes, Scott, we're a little concerned. We want to just indicate that there is just 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in the comment period, and Paul will be kind of keep an eye on that. And when the speaker's time is up, he'll indicate. We ask for everyone's cooperation to help make this our meeting as efficient and respectful of everyone's time as possible. So, this portion of the meeting is allocated for the board to provide an update of current activities and events in the district that may be of special interest to board members and to the community. So, Mr. Ebert, you are up.
Well, first of all, I want to talk about the kids. You know, everybody worked so hard on Prop I, and I knew the community would not let our kids down, and they didn't. And I want to applaud everybody for working on it. I mean, this is huge, great work. And I want to mention Paul, who spearheaded that campaign and worked tirelessly on it. So thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. I guess next, definitely not least, I'd like to mention the other Paul. His last meeting here, and man, his whole life dedicated to this district, whether it was teaching or on the board, and I'd like to give him a standing ovation. Commented to him before the meeting. He was the first person I called many years ago to say, what's this whole board thing about? So
And we only talked for an hour.
yeah.
So we're short.
Should have given some warning. You know? Also, I guess with the Prop I and the elections, I'd like to congratulate Courtney Graves on her victory. And all the candidates, and being one, I'll tell you that the campaign was awesome, very respectful, you know, very just, I don't know what to say, energetic and just what the community needed and the district deserves, that's for sure. I know Roger Hines is back here. Roger, you want to win? Anybody else? Okay. Let's see, and I have to give my little update here. So let's do this for the financial portion. The district received information on preliminary assessments this past month. This is a reassessment year, and although residential assessments declined by 3.67%, the commercial assessment showed an increase of 4.22%. The district is hopeful that these numbers are demonstrating a positive economic turn for our area. And the table that when we walked in, if everybody noticed, it's decorated with balloons. On Tuesday, May 5th, the Ferguson-Florissant Foundation, and you've heard some of the work that they're doing, will be participating in Give St. Louis Day. This is a partnership through the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation and the Education Foundation. Will be joining other community foundations across the country as part of Give Local America, which is a national 24-hour fundraising event, crowd fundraising event. Last year, the inaugural Give St. Louis Day effort netted over $1.1 million, or 528 participating nonprofits. Nonprofits use Give St. Louis Day to galvanize their donors, attract new ones, and generate awareness for their mission. The Education Foundation will be using social media such as Twitter and Facebook throughout the day to share information about the foundation and to solicit donations to help fund programs in the district. The Education Foundation will have an advisory meeting next week on April 14th to discuss strategic events for the event, strategies for the event. Make sure to watch for the information for information for this event. If you have not stopped by the table, please pick up information on the foundation to share with your friends and family. And it's amazing how far that foundation has come under the leadership of Laura Madruzik, our CFO, and the committees and things like that, and all the money and things that helped out. They've helped out with Celebrate Children. I know Betsy Anderson's here, and they're just doing wonderful things and picking up a lot of, shall we say, things that we unfortunately had to make make terrible drastic cuts. So it's really, any help we can do for the foundation helps all of us and our kids. And lastly, I'd like to mention all day, or most of the day, on April 18th, Saturday, I will be at the Scholar Bowl. And if you haven't been there, that is a really, really neat event with the elementaries, all the representatives from all the elementary schools competing in these brain games that I could never figure out. So that's all I have.
Well, good evening. Dr. Davis, I'm glad to see you. July 1st is coming so quickly, I can hardly wait. Good to see you. I had the privilege of attending or going to the induction ceremony at the National Honor Society at McClure High School. And it's the third one that I've gone to, and it really is something that I just enjoyed immensely to see these young people that have achieved so much and are doing so well. And it's just a fabulous evening for all of us. And I want to thank some of the people that were involved in that have headed it up. Rega Leslie Stewart has just done a magnificent job with it. And she's a very fine teacher at McClure and highly respected. Lauren Weisler has been involved in it for years also. And then we have a Tara Brown, it says here, but I'm afraid it's not a Brown, it's a Gruenberg. And she's going to have my first grandchild in about 2 weeks, so I'm very excited. So it better be Gruenberg. Anyway, having said that, then also Matt Albright. They have worked so hard. It is just a wonderful evening. If you have an opportunity of going to next year, it's just well worth it. You walk away just feeling absolutely tremendous. So, the National Honor Society. As far as the stakeholder and community engagement reports, again, we all know about Prop I, but you know, our effort, the district's effort, did not stop 2 days ago. It went right up till 7 o'clock last evening. And we were successful. And I want to thank everybody that was involved in that. It's just an absolutely tremendous thing for the district. And, you know, we're just, how can we be any happier? This is just terrific. And so thank you for all the hard work to bring about that successful passing of Prop I. The district now has printed and mailed the Impact newsletter. And I hope all of you got it. I got one, I read it, and I enjoyed it. It's tremendous. And it highlights the positive things about the district. It's terrific. If you did not get one, please see Jen. We want to make sure, hold your hand up. We want to make sure that you get these. And also, in June, at the end of June, we will be sending out, at the end of the school year, another one. So they are terrific. Look forward to them and enjoy them.
Next question.
Yes.
Does this go out to everybody or just?
Yes, all enrolled students, their families receive it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, today, our Faith Community Partnership hosted its second clergy breakfast. That was today. And it has brought together clergy and other faith leaders in the community. The primary reason for that is to celebrate the partnership that has been developed and is continuing to grow. And I think that, Paul, you did attend today. I think you'll have more to say about that. That it is a terrific situation for us to be able to dovetail the faith community and the district together and to help our students and such. And so it has been a successful program. Now, the district is going to host 2 more community events this month. Our STEMS Expo at McClure South Berkeley will be on Wednesday, April 15th from 5 till 7 p.m. Something very interesting for all of us to go and share in. And please, if you are in that part of the neighborhood on April 15th, do show up for that. And our annual Earth Day celebration at Little Creek will be on Saturday, April 25th. It will start at 8 a.m., goes till noon, and it, of course, is terrific. And I know that there's this civilian that's going to go to it. So it has been really a delight to go there, and it is one of our crown jewels of this district. And it is quite fun and very entertaining and very educational for all of us. Well, thank you, and it's good to see such a nice crowd. Terrific. Paul.
Okay, I first have to say thank you for the flowers. As a mathematician, I'm very good at following directions, and the directions specifically say open later. So the card's in there somewhere. My area is academic achievement and academic excellence. And if you look at our agenda tonight, you've seen it already. I want to really emphasize National Merit Scholar is incredible. That is not some small thing. When those names get published in the paper, read down the list and see how many schools do not have one. All right, it's been a few years since we've had one. It's an amazing achievement for student and staff to make that all come together and work. Our teacher, science, the Monsanto Teacher of the Year, recognizing our great people that are working with our kids. And of course, our kids that went Selma and Montgomery. Those are earth-shaking changes for these kids in their lives. If you're lucky, you've had some of those. I've had several of those in my life, not the same, but they stick with you forever. And when you get to be old and gray like me, you're still going to remember it, guys. It's really, really important. When speaking of academic excellence, I also went to the National Honor Society reception at McClure, and I stopped by with the principal and said, Jane, you're here. I don't want to steal all your thunder from your report tonight, but I asked, how is the testing going? Okay, almost everybody, particularly with elementary kids, knows we're in the midst of state testing. And I was a little bit concerned, do we have enough bandwidth, or were computers working, and so forth and so on. And she shared with me some of the preliminary data, because at the high school, students take the test at the end of the course, and so a lot of the McClure students in English Language Arts and in Social Studies took their test at the end of first semester, and they've gotten those scores back. And those scores show tremendous increases from last year. Tremendous increases. And it's to the point that if things continue the way the preliminary figures went, they'll get all the possible state accreditation points in English Language Arts and almost all the points possible in Social Studies. I want to really emphasize to our community, and I hope you would spread the word to everyone you know, of the wonderful good things that are happening. It's been a very, very, very difficult 18 months for everybody. But we've had great people carrying the ball during these difficult times. Our teachers working with our kids, bus drivers greeting kids in the morning with a smile and a hug. That encouragement is what our kids need. And the schools can't do it by themselves. You've heard me say this before. I'm, broken record here. We really need the families and communities supporting our efforts so we can really get where we need to be with all of our kids. And I know all that's going on very well at the buildings. I know the principals are focused. I know the teachers are focused. But one of the first things you learn when you go to training for school board membership is the district has almost 2,000 employees, but this board has one. And that's a little bit hard for people to understand sometimes. You get phone calls about, why don't you do something about, whoever. And that's not our job. And I want to talk a little bit about our one employee. Mainly because he didn't want the job. He didn't ask for the job. It was dumped on him when we said, we need you bad. And he did not say no, and he did not hesitate. all right? And he has worked tirelessly, he and his staff, to keep the curriculum improvement going, the teacher training improvement going, our improvement on our financial procedures going, just keeping the ship of state afloat. And Dr. Davis, I think you're going to get a ship in pretty good shape, okay? And I can pretty well promise you that. But our acting superintendent has been very selfless in everything he's done. There's been many days that he's supposed to be home and he's not. That's not just him. Laura Madrusik, I'm going to pick on you. Spring break, how many times I see your car up here? All right? Our people work very, very hard to really make this a good place. And I think it's time that we all make sure we recognize them. In particular, I want to recognize and honor the fine work that Mr. Larry LaRue has done for our district.
Anything else, Mr. Schreiber?
No, I'm done.
Mr. Morris, good luck. With your statements, this is a hard act to call.
I know. I'm most glad it is April the 8th. The elections are over, and I want to thank everybody who helped support Proposition I and get a 3-to-1 margin. I think that is probably the best in school history on passing bond issues, and I really want to thank everybody for all their help. Opened the mail today, and guess what? Had another $100 check from one of the labor unions. So that was great. We did good. I'd like to welcome Dr. Graves, and thanks for great job. And I did have the pleasure this past month to go to the National School Board Association meeting in Nashville. It was quite informative. You get to spend with time with 7,000 or 8,000 of your fellow colleagues that are on school boards across the country. And, a couple days I wore my I Love Ferguson hat that I have. And I got a lot of comments. They go, "Oh, Ferguson!" So they recognize us, and I said, "We're going forward. This is not stopping us. This is not hindering us. We are headed in one direction, and we keep moving that way." So it was very interesting. I want to give special thanks to Dr. Rance Thomas, to Dr. Thurman, Angie Van Holzer, Dave Kastrup, and Chris Martinez. They did all robocalls for us on Prop I. We did a series of robocalls trying to explain different portions of it, and they all did a great job, and I want to thank them for that. And I think that's all. Oh, well, on the facilities portion of strategic plan, and my contribution this month was helping Prop I get passed. So we have some money to do the things that we're going to start spending tonight, so in big chunks. So Gary, Dr. Dog, spend it well. So thank you very much.
Okay, it's going to be hard. It just keeps getting worse to follow after everybody. But I first want to thank Paul Schrader for all the services given the district as a teacher and as a board member. You're passionate about the children. You're very passionate about academics, and I just greatly appreciate working with you and knowing how wonderful that you are and how awesome you think of the district. So I appreciate that. And I want to welcome Courtney, and you're going to be Courtney to me because I've known you since you were a little girl in grade school. So I remember you as a very passionate and determined young lady, and the polls showed that yesterday. So I was at the polls with your mother when I was working on Prop I, and she was telling everybody that came by, vote for her daughter. She's outstanding, and she can do this and she can do that. And So it's going to be exciting working with you, and I know that you will do a great job because mothers are always right. So I'm looking forward to working with you as a peer instead of as a teacher and parent. So that'll be a different role we'll have to work on together. I am on the talent portion of the strategic plan, and we are looking for a lot of talent right now. We're working very hard, and I'm really excited that Dr. Davis has been coming to the district and working with Dr. LaRue and with Dr. Calvin in the fact of trying to help make sure that you get the best team that you can get and that you're involved in all of this. And it's good to see you here again tonight, because in the next school year we will have the best talent, right, gentlemen, that we can possibly get. So thank you very much.
I have quite a list, but I will go through them fairly quickly. Many of us, there's 4 of us here that Mr. Ebert, Mr. Brown, Mr. Schrader, and myself did attend the National Honor Society up at McClure High School, and it was incredibly inspiring for the kids, talking about what inspired them and what their life goals are, but also the teachers that influence their lives, just not academically, but socially as well. And it was a beautiful program and something I thoroughly enjoyed. Ferguson Youth Initiative, located in Ferguson, benefits Ferguson Youth, is having their first annual banquet April 25th. Tickets are available. I do encourage your attendance. Dr. Davis is going to be the keynote speaker. Maybe he'll share some of his finer points tonight in his presentation. But he will speak in there as well. But it's an incredible organization. Over the last several months, conversations kept coming up, and I even did a television interview on channel with Fox 2, and they were talking about how we need more programs to benefit the youth. And I turned to them and I said, we have Ferguson Youth Initiative. We've had it for years. Mr. James, who's on the council of Ferguson, started it, and it's a beautiful program. They have open mic, they have arts, they have guest speakers that come in, they do activities, and my own son benefits from it, and it's fantastic. So it's kind of a secret, unfortunately, in the community, but they are having their first annual banquet on April 25th, and if you can attend, that would be fantastic. Again, I also want to say thank you to Mr. Schrader. Over the last several years, we didn't always agree on things, but I always respected him because of I enjoy different perspectives on the board. I think that's important, and there's a lot of aha moments with him speaking. The guy is brilliant when it comes to academics, and when we started the strategic planning process, that was something he really jumped into and was instrumental, and I'm confident that he will continue his involvement in the district in some capacity with that. We do have a small token of our appreciation, a plaque for you, Mr. Schrader, to thank you for your years of service to the Ferguson-Florissant School District. Now, I do want to let you know, Mr. Schrader will still be attending 2 more meetings with us. I informed we'll have one on Friday at 7:15 a.m. And then he'll be here for the reorganization board meeting that will be held on April 22nd, and that's when Dr. Graves will officially be sworn in to the Board of Education. Election was fantastic. I had the pleasure of working the polls from 7:30 until 7. I was so grateful when Dr. Graves' people showed up and started handing out the Prop I stuff. It was fantastic, especially in the evening hours when it got really busy. So her crew was instrumental. I saw wherever her yard signs were, she was making sure that Prop I signs were in there too. So hats off to you, Dr. Graves, and I look forward to working with you. And then, of course, I don't know if you want to plan on coming up here during the public comments to say hey to everybody, but you're going to be more than welcome to. Mr. Hines, I know you're around here somewhere apparently. I had the pleasure of working with one of your good friends. I cannot remember his name. We're standing in the pouring rain, in the monsoon that hit us, and talking about education, talking about the direction of the community. I really didn't have much opportunity to talk with you during the campaign. My wife met you and fell in love with you, by the way. She kept talking about you. But your friend was outstanding, and I love seeing that passion for people within communities. Apparently he has a DVD. I don't know. You know who he is now? Okay, so apparently he's going to give you a DVD that you're supposed to give to me. So if you could send him that reminder, I'd appreciate it. And I don't know if this is going to be in the future agenda, but the Lions Club, the Ferguson Lions Club, donated $1,400 to Project Graduation at McClure High, right? So that was pretty outstanding, and I know, and I don't know if Ms. Crawford knows this or not, but I Love Ferguson's donating $250 to the Project Graduation as well.
Wonderful. I did not know that.
Okay, and I did tell Nicole that if the other high schools want to make a request to I Love Ferguson, I'm on the committee, so I'm sure we need money them too.
And Rob, I did share that with the
You did mention?
too. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And I believe that is it. Absolutely.
When Rob was talking about the Ferguson Youth Initiative, I would like to recognize Judy Shaw. Years ago, Judy had a group in Berkeley called the, I think, Berkeley Council, and I was very involved in Ferguson, so she brought her group of Berkeley Council Students Committee to Ferguson, and we started one probably back in '92 or somewhere in that, but it was with the help of Judy and her council. So I want to thank Judy.
All right, Mr. Green, the FFNEA.
Good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Davis, welcome. Congratulations, Dr. Graves, welcome. Congratulations, Mr. Ebert. Mr. Schrader, thank you very much on behalf of the FFNEA. Really, I don't have any report today from the FFNEA. I just want to let you know, though, that we're still working hard on behalf of the staff of Ferguson-Florissant, and we're working hard on behalf of the students of Ferguson-Florissant. And we just hope for your support, and we'll continue to work hard and give you the best that we have. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'd like to begin, it probably sounds a little frightening to some, but I'd like to begin by talking about an invitation we received from former board member Chuck Henson. He let us know about an opportunity for our schools, our librarians, to pursue some books for students. And all he asked for us to do was to kind of spread the word, to see, about the interest. But this was a great opportunity for our students. And we shared that, and we know that some of our librarians really took this in, and some of our buildings were able to receive significant sums of books, free books, for students. Now, I'd like to say that we probably took full advantage of it. I don't know that we did, but I think that we've started a relationship that will give us something to build on in the future. I think the word's getting out there that this was a great opportunity, and I guess it was a culminating event last Thursday evening where we were invited to Ferguson Middle School as a result of this effort. And Mr. Henson's in the back of the room, and Judy Shaw, she's just been mentioned a minute ago,
they were also recipients for their efforts. And I want to take just a second to share with you what we received. And teachers from Central, we have teachers from Central here. Okay. You're going to be receiving this. The third grade, you have one of these, not the book, not the book. You received the book, right? So this is a nice little trophy for your building that we want to give to you because we understand the excitement that occurred with your third graders. They all received a very nice, and I don't have a copy of that unfortunately, but it's a copy. This is a copy of that. Just wonderful excitement that was expressed through your third grade teacher, Ms. Hicks, and so this will be given to you tonight as a result of that program. And I encourage all teachers, librarians, the next time we send out something, on this opportunity, chase it down. It's a great opportunity for us, and Chuck, thank you so much. Just a couple of things. This Friday, Special Olympics will be held at McClure North. McClure North has done this for some time, and they've done a great job with this program, hosting the Special Olympics for elementary school students. So we certainly appreciate their efforts. I want to call attention to that one. Joy, during your presentation tonight, are you going to talk about a gift? All right. It's considerable, and we certainly appreciate Emerson. So, Joy.
Oh, I wasn't going to talk about that one.
Oh, you aren't? Well, is it okay if I do that? Emerson has shared with Joy, through her efforts, that they are going to be giving $137,000 to the Head Start program. So it's a considerable. Celebrate Children's coming up. And the Celebrate Children program will be May 11th through the 13th. And tickets are available, Betsy, by contacting Betsy. And then also next month's board meeting, excuse me, next month's board meeting is at McClure South Berkeley, and that's when we also have the Mark Twain Readers Awards. And then the last item, excuse me, the last item I have is the last day of school this year is not in June. It is May 29th. It's that Friday. We want everybody to be aware. You know, don't fret. But it is Friday, May 29th. Thank you.
This time, Dr. Davis, would you like to add anything?
I'm never at a loss for words. So I just wanted to say, hats off again. I was at Central Elementary the other morning and had a wonderful experience. I was at a 7:30 faculty meeting, and to give Central another round of applause. You know, I certainly could talk a long time, but I can tell you that I was excited about some of the experiences I had with teachers in their classrooms and seeing the work that's going on. I was actually in the sixth class, I think, for a considerable amount of time. So I was in that third grade class. But I'm super excited. You can see I'm on spring break right now, right? So I'm here. My wife and my son they're here too. They're not here right now, but they're here with me. So we decided to spend a week here, and so I'm working some days to try to transition in and We're going to do the zoo and some fun things while we're here as well. My son won't let me go back home without going to the zoo. But I'm really excited about joining in July. I can't wait to get here. People at home asking me, are you sure you still want to go? And I said, even more today than I did yesterday. So, but it's just wonderful to see the prop passing, the new board members, Dr. Graves, welcome aboard. Just really looking forward to working with everyone. There's some great work to be done in our community. I was moved almost to tears to see the students going to Selma. So hats off to you. Great job. I just love it when we put our focus on what it needs to be focused on, and that's children, right? And I think that when we do that, we can never go wrong. So thank you for choosing me, and I'm looking forward to joining on July 1. Thank you.
The board allocates this portion of the meeting to allow stakeholders the opportunity to comment on both agenda items and non-agenda items at the start of each board meeting. Prior to the public comment period, participants are asked to fill out a comment card with their name, address, phone number, email address, and topic to be addressed, and will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. Members of the audience who wish to speak to the board are requested to speak from the podium. Please identify themselves, and in keeping with district policies 4054, 4059, and personnel laws, should refrain from making negative comments that are personally identifiable. While the board will not directly respond to speakers during the public comment period, the board president may clarify remarks at the end of each comment session. The one card I do have up here is Ms. Anderson, who wishes to talk to us about Celebrate Children and maybe stump for selling of tickets.
I am Betsy Anderson, retired teacher from this district, and I'm going to give you another opportunity to support our students. As Mr. LaRue said, on May 12th and May 13th, over several hundred children will be performing at the Two Hill Performing Arts Center. And so I brought some tickets for both nights here tonight. If you're someone that functions mostly with plastic money and you have not brought any along with you, we'll work out some kind of an honor pay system so that you can get it to us. If you have a check, you can write to the Ferguson-Florissant School District. I'm sure Mrs. Madruza will be happy to accept that. You can give it to me and I'll pass it on. I have maps if you don't know where you're going. Just to give you a little teaser, in November 15th to be exact, 100 of our students from last year were honored to perform in a documentary film that's going to air on PBS in August or September. It is a worldwide film that was created with the sponsorship of the United Nations, and it's in honor of the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the legacy of Dr. King. It's called Dance the Dream at 50. So you can see trailers of it on on YouTube. Our children were going to come back and we're going to reenact some of the choreographies that were part of the documentary. So that's just a little teaser of some of the things that you'll see. So I'll stick around for a little bit. Come find me. That includes the board member. $10 to you guys too. Nobody gets free tickets this year. We have to pay for this. Sorry, I'm going to buy my tickets. So this is how it goes, guys. Thank you. Her children are in this show.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Chuck Henson. To the board, Dr. Graves, Mr. Ebert, congratulations. I just wanted to comment a little bit about what Larry talked about, the book distribution that happened last week. Because we as St. Louis need to be proud of this. The agency I work for, called the Minority Business Development Agency, which is a federal agency under the Department of Commerce, it's the only federal agency that grows and develops existing minority businesses around the country. So there's 44 centers. I run the one here in St. Louis. But what we did, I partnered with First Book organization, a nonprofit out of DC, that does these major distributions around the country, about 5 or 6 a year. So I brought them to St. Louis. Last week, we distributed over 500,000 new books from St. Louis. And these books
ranged from age 0 to 18 years old. They went to nonprofits, school districts, Boys and Girls Club, anybody who helped handle or work with children in need. We partnered also with the Ferguson-Florissant School District, and I was appreciative of you guys with Susan Kelly at Ferguson Middle. We held a reception there. We also had a simultaneous distribution from the Ferguson Library. 155,000 of those books stayed right here in St. Louis. So I'll tell you, and we partnered with, what First Book does is partners with major book publishers like Disney and folks like that, who annually have all of these books available, and they used to give those books away, or they used to burn them. The person who started First Book, she said she was an educator, and one day they had a project in class, these elementary students, and they asked them to bring a book to school from home, something they like to read, and very few of them showed up with a book. And one boy brought a phone book. It was the only book in his house. And what she learned was those major publishers, annually, they send all of their books. What they do is they over-publish each year to get the cost down. And they wind up incinerating all this that's left over. So when she found that out, she started this organization. So if you go out to firstbook.org and do /STL, we can actually keep this going, because they're asking for donations to keep the drive and keep the momentum going. But it was really a major campaign, and they said that of all the distributions they've ever done, this is the largest distribution where every book was accounted for that went out, that they brought into the market. The other thing is that we leveled out, we maxed out in volunteers before that week even started. 2 weeks out, we had enough volunteers to work the campaign. And there was 2 shifts a day with 20 people per shift that were distributing these books. So I appreciate all that Ferguson-Florissant did, and certainly we need to be proud in St. Louis what happened. And firstbook.org, check it out. And because of them, we can. That award, go out to their website and check them out. You may have seen the billboard that's right by McClure. Because what they do is they have all these children dress up in characters of historians, from Maya Angelou to Frederick Douglass to Muhammad Ali, and just portray and let children understand where they come from and what things they need to be proud of. So if you go out to firstbook.org, I guarantee you, if you go to that website, you cannot fall in love with what that organization does. So thank you, and be proud of having it with you.
First book of this, and I have worked with us.
Dr. Graves, would you like to say anything?
I really don't know what I want to say. I started off yesterday when we were campaigning at 5:30 in the morning, and my status was excited. Someone asked me how I felt today. I said still excited, energized, and excited. When I was watching the film that someone just came up, I cried because I felt this is home for me, and this is my moment. I love the Ferguson-Florissant School District. This is home for me. I care about each and every student. And that seat, I love that, Paul. Can I get your seat? I told Paul last night, I got some shoes to fill, and I'm ready. I'm so ready. One more thing, my campaign manager, we had over 5,000 votes. If it wasn't for my campaign manager and each and every one of you all that supported me,
And Prop 5, we did it, y'all.
Is there anybody else at this time that wishes to address the board? Okay. We're going to take a short break. We will reconvene at 8:25. All right, well, thank you for coming back. Mr. Secretary, would you please read the disbursements?
Payroll, teacher and non-teacher, $7,958,413.89. Operational disbursements, $1,106,490.05, for a grand total of $9,064,904.94.
Move we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion been made by Ms. Hodson, second by Mr. Schrader. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it. We're going to move into the curriculum and instruction. Dr. Bland or Schweitzel, both?
Good evening. Tonight we have 3 principals who will be sharing unique programs that contribute to the success of their school. And first up, we have Principal of McClure High School, Ms. Jane Crawford. And she brought some special guests from McClure to help her with her presentation.
I brought the A-team. They're gonna cluster behind me. Good evening, school board members, community members, and stakeholders. My name is Jane Crawford, and I am the principal of McClure High School. Tonight, it is with great crown and pride that we present to you a few of the unique initiatives that we're implementing at McClure. So many positive things are taking place at McClure right now that it was difficult to select the areas that we wanted our focus to be. However, we have 3 exciting areas to tell you about tonight. These areas represent McClure's vision, mission, and creation. The McClure Vision is our new student leadership group, and the mission is McClure's initiative to become a writing school. The creation represents the arts, the heart of McClure, our community art installation collaboration with the Craft Alliance. Let me start by introducing to you Vaughn Ross from McClure's Vision. He's going to begin by sharing with you some more information about Vision, our new student leadership group.
Hello again, everyone. My name is Vaughn Ross. I am a senior in McClure High School, and I was elected the president of the Vision hashtag on a mission. And our vision is to better ourselves, better our community, and better our school. But it starts with us. And yes, I can hold this. Our mission statement is that Vision would like all students from McClure to enjoy. The visual. The vision would like all students from McClure to take pride into our school and. Vision would like all students from McClure to take pride in our school and feel as if they're having a quality education, and which will allow them to go out to the school, and out to the world and make a difference. Also, the vision would like to encourage unity, mutual respect, and understanding throughout our school and community. And with the wake up, rise up, wise up, which is our slogan, which is with the wake up, students are allowed to actually wake up, meaning everyone in our community pretty much limiting the ignorance going on throughout our community. Wise up, meaning everyone coming together with a purpose, better less and everything else. And rise up meaning actually coming up with an action, actually fulfilling the needs that needs to be done. That's the thing.
Hello, I'm Carrie Jackson. I'm a senior at McClure High School. And this is a picture of our students from the division, and we have given a presentation during our advisory to each grade level. And during this advisory, we have explained to the students what our purpose is for the division and what was our purpose of starting this group. And we was explaining to them who we are. And so we've accomplished hearing our students' opinions on some of the issues during our, in our school and stuff. And then we also accomplished showing them the importance of change in our school and our community. So, yeah.
Hello, my name is Angela Buckler. I'm a junior at McClure High School. And on January 15th, our school had the opportunity, along with many other schools in St. Louis, to go to the first summit on race. And there we discussed racial issues, and also with participating with the summit on race, we got a sister school, which basically means, well, our sister school is Proper North, and what we did is that we visited each of the schools and we presented to them what we've done so far in our school, and we discussed racial issues, and we start coming up with action plans for the racial issues. And this picture in particular is us after having a discussion at Parkway North. And this is a picture of us at the second summit on race, which happened February 25th. And this is another picture as well.
This is a picture showing one of the ways the division have explained and showed the school and told them about our 54-day challenge. The 54-day challenge was a competition because we were challenged from by McClure North and McClure South Berkeley. And they basically challenged us to see if we can reduce our tardies and referrals. So this division helped push that and promote that and show it to our students. We move on.
Hello everyone, my name is Nigel Demani Moore. How are you all today? I'm doing good, thank you. And our future plans, not only for McClure, but as for our community as a whole, we plan to mount McClure in our community on a pedestal, reigning over a utopia filled with the students, a staff, and ultimately a people, all aiming for excellence. Now, we plan to keep this vision as being immortal, okay, with unchanging eyes. And I hope you all are with us. All right.
Students involved in the vision have worked tirelessly to create change in our school. Students are being empowered and clearly their voices are being heard. McClure is determined to build a sense of community built on open and honest communication. And next year we intend to continue supporting the vision by providing the resources they need to be a catalyst for change. Next we'll have Carrie Baird with Mission.
McClure High School students belong to a writing school. They believe in their ability to write, and they are becoming scholars who are college and career ready. At McClure High School, all of our teachers ask our students to write a long paragraph to a prompt each month. Our teachers enter this data into Mastery Connect bi-monthly in order to analyze our data and create our next steps. This is an example of our March data. From semester 1 to semester 2, our scores on the long paragraph writing have increased by 15% overall. We have also initiated the ACT on-demand writing. We do this twice per year in order to give our students practice for the ACT writing section. In the fall, our students wrote about the possibility of adding more technology in the classroom. In the spring, our students wrote about letter grades versus a pass-fail grading system. Both of the prompts were provided by ACT in the practice materials. The process we followed replicates the process of ACT. The same time period is given, and even the same testing materials are used. Again, teachers enter the data into Mastery Connect. When we analyzed the data, we noticed that students needed more help with conclusions on both the long paragraph writing as well as the ACT on demand. In the fall, 59% of our students showed weakness in the conclusion area of their ACT on demand writing. In the spring, only 11% of the students showed the same issue. The Comic Conclusions is something that we created in order to support our teachers and reinforce teaching conclusions. This sign is hanging in every teacher's classroom for both students and teachers. Our investment in writing will benefit our students in high school and beyond. And now, Michelle Motiel will tell you about the creation at McClure High School.
The community's project's overall purpose is to use art as a catalyst for unification, to come together for one purpose, to make a wish for our future, to celebrate one another. Craft Alliance reached out to our school this winter, asking for our students to collaborate with ceramic artist Norleen Nasri. Craft Alliance has been a recipient of Emerson Mural Arts Program for the past 20 years. Our collaboration is the very first one based on a sculptural format. 14 Ceramic 2 students have designed, implemented, and are currently creating a dynamic work of art in clay. And Kenya Smith is going to talk just briefly about a few of our slides.
Hi everybody, I'm Kenya Smith. I go to McClure High School, I'm a senior. And well, I'm in ceramics. I've been in ceramics since my freshman year. And mostly all we make is teapots or cookie jars. And since Ms. Norleen came in, we figured out how to use new techniques and build new things. So in this picture, she taught us how to make slabs. Slabs is like a piece of clay, then we use it to really flat, and we use it to make the face, the walls, and the surface of this, like,
The modular piece.
Modular piece. In this picture, we use, this is the internal structure that my friend Brandon was doing, and we use rulers, and we measure everything to be very, very precise. And it ties back to architecture. In this picture, we're putting the walls around. So right here, it takes a very long time. You have to be very precise, and it takes very much focus.
Thank you, Kenya. Participation of our entire school community is imperative to the artwork's purpose. The entire school community will have the opportunity to customize their very own teacup. They will carve a personal wish for the future onto the surface. Their name and age will accompany said wish, marking the occasion. 18 modular pieces, 12 teapots, and 2,000 cups will encompass the final piece. In May, our students, staff, and community members will come together for a tea ceremony. As one, we will raise our cups, make our wishes, and toast to our future. The entire piece will be installed on our McClure campus. This will be an artifact left to mark the entire experience.
I hope you've enjoyed our presentation of McClure's creation, mission, and vision. I would like to thank my teacher and student team who's helped me articulate our presentation tonight. Through McClure's community project, we will create, we will write, and we will envision a better future for McClure High School, bringing everything full circle. Thank you very much.
Are there other teachers and parents here with you?
Yes, there are. I have a couple of staff members from my administrative team and a couple of teachers. If everybody would, students and presenters remain standing, and then if I could have my administrators also stand up too. Thanks to everyone for all of your input and support.
Good evening, board. Congratulations to Mr. Ebert. Congratulations to Courtney Graves. Ms. Graves, welcome. And welcome, Dr. Davis. I want to introduce Ms. Isom, principal at Central. But before we do that, I just want to thank her for hosting Because of Them We Can. It was so powerful sitting there. The students were able to select props, and they were negotiating over who would be the doctor, who would be the judge, and just standing on one end of the library watching these two boys. One was a doctor and one was a pilot, sitting there going through the book trying to decide which of career they wanted to pursue. It was just powerful to me, and just the thought that it takes us believing in every single child that walks through the door, that they can be absolutely whatever it is that they want to achieve. I mean, it was just a wonderful experience. And Chuck, I have to say, he's still here. There was a young man who, he was kind of grumpy when he came in, and he didn't have at the table what he wanted, and he wanted a suit coat. And so Chuck was gracious enough to take his suit coat off and give him his. And so I said, well, you want to be a lawyer, a doctor? And he looked up at me, a little attitudinal, like, how dare you say that? And he said, no, I want to be a deacon when I grow up. So I just thought that was wonderful. So thank you again to Ms. Isom. Your teachers were just so excited about the experience. And again, it's really about us believing in every single child and seeing them be exactly what they want to achieve, and even helping them determine and giving them those experiences. So that was just a wonderful experience at Central Elementary. So at this time, I'd like for Ms. Isom to come up.
Members of the board, Superintendent LaRue, thank you for all your hard work and service and dedication. Superintendent Davis, thank you for coming to Central and just touching the hearts and minds of our staff and encouraging us and just kind of giving us that shot of energy that we needed. I wanted to recognize any Central parents or students or anyone that's affiliated with Central to stand. And there's Patty Payton, who is a reading rock star. She is. Patty, come forward, please. I just want to talk to Pat about Patty for just a minute. She doesn't know. Patty, as a school, we have faced an inordinate amount of stress. We have had a fire on our campus, bullets to our windows. We've had white supremacist groups calling us and wanting to show YouTube videos, and let's not forget the Black Panther Party. I mean, we've had it all. But in spite of that, you have remained calm. You have kept a professional demeanor. You have captured the hearts and minds of our students, and you have inspired teachers, and our data reflects that you are a reading rock star. She is going to be recognized by Mayan Corporation along with Central School. As a school, we've read over 14,000 books. We have a student population of 280 students. And Mayan Corporation is going to spotlight us at the National Reading Conference featuring Shaquille O'Neal and Octavia Spencer. So we're going to be featured as one of the reading rock star schools.
And some of our students.
Along with our students. But it's all attributed to Patty's tireless work.
We can't do it without the teachers' cooperation either.
And dedication. And her unfailing belief in the students and the teachers. I thank you publicly. shows a significant difference in last year's reading performance compared to this year. Last year as a school, we grew in reading, math, and science due to the school's teachers' commitment to differentiation, focus, and making it happen for students. One of the initiatives that we really started last year is we moved from the BASIL, which is using like a standard text where kids really don't have a lot of differentiated assignments. It's reading typically a low reading group or struggling readers, a middle level reading group, and then there's like a higher reading group. So most schools are doing that, but last year the teachers really wanted something different to really meet their students' needs and maximize their student potential. So we implemented best instructional practices for reading, which was guided reading methods. And teachers were hungry for more. So they decided, let's just take this and expand it to something even greater and differentiate our math. So teachers said, Crystal, come on, do it. We need to make it happen. So I flew to North Carolina and met with Laney Sammons, who's an internationally known math expert. And I think Sue Roslowski and others from Griffith came and participated in the training, and it was absolutely phenomenal. One of the things that we're most proud of as a school is that we secured a major grant from Washington University to implement MySci Kits. And MySci Kits are dynamic, interactive, hands-on science lessons that supplement the Missouri Learning Standards. So kids have engaging science lessons that support the standards and objectives. We are reading rock stars at Central. So we embrace accelerated reader, and we take a bunch of assessments, and we have over 10,000 AR points, which is amazing for a school of 280 students. We integrate technology every single day. We have over, 150 electronic devices where students use iPads to read level text through the computer through MyOnReader. So MyOnReader is a system that has approximately 7,000 books. And students, Patty skillfully and strategically partnered with teachers and taught them how to create book libraries so that students are reading in their zone of proximal development. So we established a building library, and oh, let's not forget the field trips. We are the field trip monsters, I guess, of the district. There is no place that we have not gone, no experience that we have not secured for our students. We believe that those experiences enhance the standards course of study, and it makes things real and concrete for the lives of our children. On this slide, you see where our students are using their iPads to read books, and we also have them use iPads to do EdSide, which is a program that pretty much reinforces the Missouri Learning Standards for language arts and math. So the kids have a double dose of exciting things through the computer and through small group instruction. We're really proud of being the Scholar Bowl champions. I'm going to speak in advance. I know that the competition has occurred, but I'm just wanting to claim it right now that we will be number one for the district. I'm sorry guys. We're ranked number one in the district for both competitions in our region. We're so proud of that. We're number 2 in the district last year, and we are planning our Scholar Bowl victory party already, and it's slated for April 27th. So we had Charnice Jones, who's a 4th grader, who's number 1 in the district for the 4th grade spelling bee. We are number 1 in the district for reading over 13,000 books. We are one of 500 schools in the nation that was recognized as a touchdown school. That means our focus is health and wellness, and we secured many grants. We've had many St. Louis Rams to come through our school, and we've been on site to partner with them to enforce our vision of health and wellness. We have so many school-wide incentives. Last month it was Incredible Pizza. We had an incredible time. But in order to be a part of Incredible Pizza, the students had to learn their math facts. So Kevin, you would love it because we rocked it. We had so many 5th graders and K6 actually that went to Incredible Pizza as a result of learning the math facts that you kind of did professional development and really talked to us about the importance of learning our math facts. So we listened to you and we implemented a plan, and our kids celebrated Incredible Pizza after learning their math facts and reading and mastering several books where they earn over 20 or 30 AR points. We had Club 300, the district initiative, which is to master your sight words, because we know that students who know their sight words are going to be more proficient readers, and they're going to be really excited about reading because they are more capable and more proficient. In here, I talk about guided math, and guided math really just piggyback from our work with guided reading. And the essential components of guided math are establishing an environment of numeracy, which is just saying, hey, how is math real in everyday life? We have math warm-ups, whole group instruction, small group instruction, and math workshop. And there's Laney Sanders, who's a national math expert that modeled lessons in our school. And then as a result of having those modeled lessons, we contracted with a private organization to have our teachers receive more instructional or job-embedded coaching. And of course, we worked with Kevin, who helped us immensely with implementing our Wednesdays, which we focused on smarter balance items and working on EdSci and different things to reinforce the curriculum. One of the things that I particularly enjoy is establishing community partners. I think I would say, and others would say, that I'm like a freebie queen. Anything free, any trip that I can get free, I want it. So we have partnered with Magic House, Butterfly House, St. Louis Zoo, Walmart Corporation, St. Louis Rams, Kids Mart, Sam's Club, Destiny Foundation, where we saw school-wide field trip for a jazz concert. We went to the St. Louis Symphony. We went to partner with Washington University and secured essentially $30,000 worth of things for $2,000. Wells French Church, Curves, Donors Shoes, Kappa Kappa Gamma donated, oh my gosh, like over 100 books and donated time and just have been amazing. Kiwanis Club, Girls on the Run, we have an amazing guitar club. The Jewish Women League, we have a wonderful community closet at our school where they donate wonderful clothes, and we have, of course, gear. Now, typically the way I start a meeting is that we do a chant at Central that kind of celebrates who we are. And I know you guys did it last year, you're probably thinking, oh, I don't really want to do it again, but I'm going to beg you all to do it with me again this year. And when I say Central, you say stars. Okay? And when I say academic, you say excellence. Okay? And then when I say central staff, I want you to say you rock, because Patty is a rock star. All right, get ready to help him. All right. Central stars. Come on, y'all. Central stars. Central stars. Academic excellence. Academic excellence. Central stars. Central stars. Central staff. Rock stars. Central staff. Rock stars. Thank you all so much.
Mr. Joyce, I hope you have your chant together.
Make room, I'm gonna do cartwheels.
At this time, I'd like for Mr. Joyce, principal of Griffith Elementary School, to come up.
That's kind of hard act to follow. Especially with all that stuff Miss Tyson was talking over there. So we're going to beg to differ at Griffith Elementary School. So I'm very honored to be the principal there and work with a great staff. I have two staff members that were able to make it tonight. Mr. Ganal, my administrative intern, and Ms. Rozlowski, my third grade teacher. So Home to Dragons is, I'm beg to differ, that's where it's at on 200-day drive off of Chambers. We sit kind of off the beaten path, so some people kind of forget about us. But the one thing that we wanted to really talk about tonight is that we labeled this year as a year for change for us. We knew that if we wanted a different outcome, we had to change the way we did things. And so with that, we're going to highlight a few areas that we felt that at the beginning of the year we had opportunities for growth, and through that growth we could have student success. So what I'd like to first talk about is the motto that we've adopted at Griffith, and that's the Griffith way. There's no other way. It's the Griffith way. And the students know, and the parents know, and the staff know that when you enter the building, the Griffith way is the expectation. And we play for that team on the front of the shirt, which is our Griffith Dragon, not the name on the back of the shirt as individuals. We come together as a team, and we do everything that we can to support one another. So making these changes, we are going to highlight 3 areas that we felt with the Griffith way that we are showing success this year. And that's building a collaborative culture, increasing attendance to increase achievement, and integrating that technology also into the classroom. We know that we can't increase achievement if students aren't in seats. And that's one of the big things that we wanted to work on, but in order to do that, we had to build a collaborative culture. So what we did is we are out bridging the gaps between schools and community, mending some things, enhancing some things, making those connections with our parents along with community members also. And through that, we've increased parental involvement in our building by more than 50%. This is just a picture. So this is a picture that we've started a parent-teacher group that we meet monthly, and this is a picture of one of our parent-teacher groups, and it's not the picture that I selected as, let me see how I can get the most people in this picture. We have anywhere, yes, we have anywhere, and Ms. Rozlowski, Mr. Ganal, feel free to jump in at any time. We have anywhere from 25 to 50 to as many as 75 people that have come to one of our PTG meetings. And we tie in several different things. We also recognize our kids through the Ferguson Kiwanis Club and Terrific Kids Awards. We've handed out backpacks to every student at the beginning of the year, books for students. But what we really do is we listen to the needs of our parents and our students, because we can't do it alone. We have to come together and work together and communicate and support one another. And through that communication, the Griffith Way, the 90-90 attendance, which we have really pushed this year, if you can look at last year's statistics at the 2013-2014 school year, we were one of the bottom schools as far as attendance. The overall attendance for the 90-90 was 83.6. Currently, we're at 91.6, sitting second in the district, which is just our kids know that. They are very proud of it. Our parents are proud of it because, like I said before, we know that we can't learn if we're not in school. And to add on with that, it's also our discipline has played a big part in that. Our discipline data, we have cut down office referrals by 72% and out-of-school suspensions by 70%. So that is something that's something that our students, our staff, our parents, it's all due to them. It's nothing that we've just put a few things in place, listening to parents, listening to our staff members, listening to our students, and saying, well, where do we want Griffith to be at the end of the 2014-15 school year? And then how can we build on that for future successes? We haven't had a day this year where we have actually dropped below the 90% attendance average. And because of that, we recognize our students. Our students are very proud. At the end, anyone reaching the attendance goal at the end of third quarter, which was March 13th, I think, right around that, received a shirt that said, "We are Griffith" on the front, and then the Griffith Way 90-90 attendance on the back. And they are very, very proud to wear those. We had over 350 students out of 375 students that are making the attendance goal this year so far. And I have to go, so I have on the far left is a first grade classroom, and then my middle and my right picture are my sixth graders. And I have to go on with saying that it's kind of like coming back home myself. I got hired in the district at Griffith as an employee in my very first year, so coming full circle. I know Mr. Ganal, he went to school at Griffith, so it's kind of coming full circle for him. So we are very dedicated and very passionate about what we do. And I'm so proud in the 13 years of teaching, I have never come across a group of 6th grade students that I am more proud of. We have written 2 office referrals for inappropriate behaviors out of our 6th grade so far this year. And I have never, and I've been in 3 different schools, I have never had a 6th grade group that I speak so highly about as this group. And I tell them every single day how proud I am of them. So we also, one other thing in our building that we wanted to really look at as an accomplishment that we've tried to really push and go toward, just like Ms. Isom said, is that technology in the classroom and integrating that technology in the classroom. We use the MyOn also. We also have, we partnered up with some people. Partnership, I think, with the community can have such an impact on things that we wouldn't have otherwise. So through some donations at the beginning of the year with Donors Choose, along with some donations, Bubba Watson Foundation, that $25,000 gift that we got at the beginning of the year with the break-in that we had in our school, along with some local, with some school funds, we've been able to really up the technology in our building. These are some students and how they use it, using the technology in the classroom. I have some 3rd grade students, 2nd grade, I think a 1st grade and a 2nd grade classroom also. What we do is we're looking for a STEM future, that's science, technology, engineering, and math, and integrating that technology into the classroom. Now it is just something that our teachers have been seeking professional development and opportunities so that we can be most effective and efficient with how we are integrating that technology into the classroom. We have over 225 mobile devices, probably getting closer to 275-ish. We have at least 5 Chromebooks in every classroom, or every classroom from 2nd grade to 6th grade. We also have 2 iPad carts. The teachers have iPads that they can interact on their iPads so that they can be mobile in the classroom and interact with the smartboard, along with the students can use that iPad to demonstrate problems or navigate through the smartboard. But all those devices are great. I have listed some of the things that we do in our building, projects and group work and journaling and books online. But I also have Ms. Razlowski, I won't put you on the spot, but Ms. Razlowski has, I know she got 16 or so Donors Choose Chromebooks donated in your classroom, so maybe a quick brief on how you or what your kids are, how they use it in the classroom, or a student, or you can wing it, Ms. Razlowski, it's all right.
And I can talk really fast because the board said 3 minutes and my principal said you have 30 seconds, so I have to talk very fast. We use MyOn and we use Reflex Math several times a day to work on their reading skills and math work. But in February we had a parents' night and we did a slideshow, and the 3rd grade did a digital timeline, African American historical timeline. And it was so cool because we had that luxury of having the Chromebooks so we could do some really deep research. My kids, Mrs. Kamacaro and my students, the kids saw Rosa Parks' fingerprints when she was booked. They got to use that in one of the slideshows. I have one student who's in 3rd grade, and he's reading at a 1st grade level currently. And he partnered up with a classmate, and they did research. And when we had this parent night, we had this whole U-shape, the whole room was taken up with Chromebooks, and kids would do their presentation, and this young man had his index cards, and he sounded like a thinker, and he felt like a thinker, and he felt so proud. So having that luxury of that technology is just incredible. So.
So with that being said, we just want to make sure that we're providing our students at 200-day drive, home of the Griffith Dragons, with those opportunities that they may not have. We are very transparent. We are very real with our family members, our parents, and we get to know them. We spend a lot of time in the neighborhoods. both myself, Mr. Ganal, along with the teachers, we walk students home. We have a lot of students that walk to and from school. We have a couple of apartment complexes very close. We walk with them to the neighborhoods because that's when real conversations occur. Right there. There's parents that are coming out of the house waving, they're shaking hands, they're saying, oh, hey, can I get with you about something that happened? Those are where the real conversations happen. And that's what we need to do, is we need to build that community to where we're fighting the same cause. It's not that it's the school and you're at home and it's your job to educate and it's your job to parent. We need to come together as a family. And that's what we're doing at Griffith. It's the Griffith way. We are Griffith and we're a family.
Thank you very much. Joy will be presenting on the early childhood education report, and this is for board action.
Okay. I'm really happy to be here this evening to share with you an update on what's going on in early education. I'm going to follow the trend and ask the early ed staff members who are here to stand up and thank them for coming. Very special group. We continue to keep the same vision that all children will be successful learners who are caring, creative, and confident. I want to start by saying congratulations to our child development centers who were just voted Best Child Care in North County through the North County Chamber of Commerce and the Community News. We have some changes in Parents as Teachers. The present premise stays the same, that all parents are their children's first and most influential teachers. The program continues to begin prenatally. But the curriculum has changed. The Parents as Teachers National Center has updated the curriculum. We have the aspects of parenting articulated more clearly. For our home visit, we're talking a lot about nurturing children, guiding them, communicating, responding, and supporting their learning. The parents choose what they want to talk about, and sometimes they'll bring in something of their own. The focus has also expanded to including the whole family in our home visits. That fits us just fine because we have the mission that we are dedicated to partnering with families to inspire a love of learning in all children. So the parent educators and teachers were all trained this year in the new online curriculum all the way through preschool. Teachers are certified parent educators and work with the children in the home with their parents, but work in the classroom as well. Same teacher, same child at school. In our classrooms, learning is through play. Instruction is also play-based. Another change in the home visits is that we really are getting the parent to take on the role of teacher in the home, taking the lead there. But in the classroom, the teacher is the teacher. For families of children with special needs, the parent educators from the PAT program provide the home visits. And the early childhood special education teachers provide the program at school. We continue with our screening program with babies, also with preschoolers. Our group connections continue. We facilitate parent discussions, but we also have parent-child activities. And I will tell you, it's really interesting to see how father involvement has increased over the years. It makes us feel really good. Our preschool program is officially part of the district PBIS program, Positive Behavior Intervention Supports. Our three big rules across the program are be safe, be kind, and be cooperative. So you can see the children really had to be cooperative, and they worked hard to build this project together. And they also had the trust to know that nobody's going to knock it over. It's quite a project. PBIS provides a framework for our PATHS curriculum, which is promoting alternative thinking skills. This is on social emotional skills, where the teachers really help the children to learn how to get along, to understand their own feelings and the feelings of others, and how to solve their problems. The teachers are the coaches. They give the children the words to use. It takes lots of time, it takes lots of patience, but over time, the children learn to do it on their own in the classroom and on the playground. We are concerned, though, in early ed about the impact of 2 years of budget cuts and staff reductions and the impact on services to families. Notice how the numbers are going down. We have dropped in the number of children served in PAT by 421. We are serving fewer families, 334 fewer families. We are providing 2,602 fewer home visits. We are doing 839 fewer screenings, and we have 90 fewer children enrolled in preschool. This is a concern because we know the program works. It helps parents, it helps children learn. We're continuing with our 14-year trend of showing that children who've been in early education score higher on their state achievement tests. These are the math scores from last spring. We see the same thing with communication arts. Children who've had early education score at higher levels than their peers who have not had this program. Biologically, the brain is ready. It is keenly impacted by early experiences. The connections between brain cells grow dramatically from birth to 2 years. And by 6, we're seeing a great deal more organization in the brain. We want to take advantage of this unique opportunity to help children learn. We believe it's a wise investment. And as always, we invite you to come visit us. Do you have any questions?
I move we accept the report.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ms. Hogshead, seconded by Mr. Schrader. Discussion?
I have visited the early ed program. I want to get back there again. Me, for one, we have got to find a way to get this enrollment up and get our students into these programs. The data doesn't lie here. It doesn't lie anywhere. As far as early education, all my kids went through this program. And I'll tell you what, they still bring the sand in the house or the little rice or whatever that is. Oh God, that was my job today. You know. But I know, Laura, the budget and everything, but we have got to find a way to get to our students earlier. And I have dreams of an early ed center someday. So maybe my goals are lofty, but that's just my comment. My heart and soul is in early education. Thanks.
This has always been a very big strength of our district. The name of the early childhood center needs to be the Mildred Winter Center. She was the mother of early childhood ed in the whole state of Missouri. That's just my 2 cents worth. But when you think of what we've done in the paper again today, Webster Groves still charges for kindergarten.
Yes.
And how long have we been doing free kindergarten?
Since 1997.
Yeah, a long time, right? And how long have you had the early ed programs? Long time.
Since 1971.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time. That's even before me, when 1971. And that's old. Not by much, 72 is when I came. But, it's one of those things that we know it works, and it's going to take some hard work to figure out how to make it happen. But the more we can expand that, we know it's going to pay dividends. But it's like all investments. You got to make the investment now if you want to reap the benefits a few years later.
Anything else? All in favor of accepting the early childhood education report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Education. My glasses on nowadays.
The goal of the Guidance and Counseling Department is to work with the schools to help ensure that each school has a fully implemented, comprehensive guidance curriculum program that supports the academic, career, and personal social development of all students through the delivery of guidance curriculum, individual student planning, and responsive services. The program is managed and evaluated through system support activities. The Social Work Department provides valuable services for students and families through the work of our social workers. They connect school and community resources with families to enhance student progress and achievement. Some highlights this year to speak of. The Student Services Department successfully trained 2,000 staff members prior to the start of the school year through the support of 18 agencies and partnerships. This training was called the RISE training, which stood for Response, Intervention, Support, and Education. Although DESE requested support for us through Missouri Mental Health Department, they were not able to support us. So we were able to pull this off with a 24-hour turnaround, begging and helping and asking for support through many of our agencies. So that was a exciting 24 hours, but I don't think that anyone knew that it was only pulled together in 24 hours. I thought we did a great job. Trauma response training with counselors and social workers continued throughout the year to support our students and families once school was in session. Specific trainings of interest were youth mental health first aid, resilience and coping intervention, and psychological skills. Governor Jay Nixon visited with us during youth mental health first aid training, as this training is a state initiative for all educators. Future endeavors include, due to the success of the RISE training and the request received from staff for additional training, youth mental health first aid will be offered through the Staff Summer Academy this year. All counselors and social workers will receive additional trauma training through the Child Trauma Toolkit for Educators, sponsored through a grant with the Adoptive and Foster Care Coalition. This training has also been extended to all administrators, and there's an opportunity for individual building training. We have recently received word from the St. Louis Children's Service Fund that an expansion of one of our current grants has been approved that will afford us the opportunity to house a full-time therapist in each of our 23 buildings. This will be partnered through Great Circle, so we're very excited about that.
That's fabulous.
So I submitted my biennial report and
we approve the report.
Second.
Motion been made by Ms. Hodgson, second by Mr. Morris. All right, discussion? Got anything else you want to add? Any other questions? You do a phenomenal job, and your whole department does. It was one of the greatest conversations I had yesterday working at the polls in regards to the number of services that we're able to offer to our kids. And I applaud you and everybody else for, especially with the therapists coming on board as well.
It's exciting.
That is phenomenal. Yeah.
We just received word, so we're excited.
All in favor of accepting the Guidance and Counseling Social Services report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it. And you're
right.
You're right here for the Health Services
Yes,
report.
yes. So Ferguson-Florissant School District nurses provide many valuable services to our students, staff, and community. They deal with numerous illnesses and medical conditions during the school day. The nurses provide screenings to our students, including vision, hearing, and scoliosis. Our nurses organize and schedule health education and informational programs for our students. The Health Services Department assists with decreasing absenteeism by keeping children healthy through screening, first aid, medication administration, and health education. I am grateful to the Board of Education for your support to have all Ferguson-Florissant school locations staffed with a registered nurse. The district clinic visit numbers speak to this need. In 13-14, clinic visits were 117,663. In 2014-15 year-to-date, the clinic visits are 67,309. So we keep our nurses busy. One of the many programs that the nursing department brings to our students that I would like to highlight is the Kids Vision for Life. It's for elementary schools. The program screens all K through 6th grade students for vision, and for those students that qualify, a mobile unit comes to the school location for a comprehensive exam and provides 2 free pairs of glasses for those that qualify from that exam. One half of our schools are screened every other year on an alternating cycle. This year, the opportunity was given to us to screen all buildings that were on the off cycle through the support of Kids Vision for Life and the Essilor Vision Foundation, who drove their mobile unit here specifically for us. The Vision Fest was held on November 5th, 2014. The total number of students this year that received glasses through the Kids Vision for Life and the Vision Fest was 478 students. The outlook for the future is to continue to provide students with preventative education and healthcare support through the service of our nursing staff. I've also submitted my biennial report and respectfully ask for approval.
I move we approve.
Second. Motion's been made by Ms. Hogshead, and I'll give this one to Mr. Brown. All in, any discussion?
Second.
Well, you second.
Oh, okay.
Mr.
Well, you
Brown.
said you needed a second.
No, you guys said at the same time.
You got it.
All right. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Math. Textbooks.
Due to the need for a curriculum resource that meets the needs of our 6th through 8th grade students, the district is requesting the purchase of McGraw-Hill Course 1, 2, and 3 that will replace our current curriculum text. We will also add accelerated math in the 7th grade and update the Algebra 1 text in 8th grade and high school. These materials were written to meet the current Missouri learning standards. The amount of this purchase is $229,077 and will be funded with district funds.
I move we approve.
Second.
Motion been made by Ms. Hogshead, second by Mr. Schrader. Discussion?
Does this mean then every student will have a book? They can take them home, they won't be left in the
Yes.
classroom?
And these are actual consumable books that we get for 6 years in a row. They get new books every year.
Does it come with a digital copy license?
Yes, it
too?
does.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the request for the math textbook purchases, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Yearbook vendors for middle and high schools.
Following the theme of one district, Laura and I worked on wanting to have the same vendor for our 3 middle schools and high schools for the yearbook. That hasn't always happened in the past. So the requests for quotes were made available to the yearbook vendors for our middle schools and high school yearbook programs on March 9th. The vendors who submitted the request for quotes presented their product and services to the yearbook advisors, the CFO, Laura, and myself, on April 1st, 2015. The recommended yearbook vendor for the middle schools is Hal Wagner. And the middle school yearbook program is an after-school program that's done with a yearbook sponsor who's one of the teachers. And the recommended yearbook for the high school vendor is Herf Jones, and that program is part of a course that the kids take, curriculum that happens during the school day. Yearbook contracts would be for the next school year through the 2019-20 school year. The cost of the yearbook is funded through the purchase of the yearbooks by the parents and students.
I move we approve.
Second. Motion been made by Ms. Hogshead, second by Mr. Schrader.
Do the cost of the yearbooks 100% covered by the parents and students?
We hope it does. There have been a few years where at the high school level, it's a harder of a challenge to determine how many books that you are going to purchase.
With the middle school, it will be, because Hal Wagner has this brand new printer that they can print on demand, and so they don't have to overbook.
No, in middle school, it's a paperback book, and they are able to, if you order 150 books and you have a huge response and you need to order 5 more or 50 more, they can turn around and order that book in 2 weeks and get it to you. The high school is a little more of a challenge because it's a hardback bound book. And so the schools really do work to look at their previous order numbers. There have been some years where things are off, but not where near has it been in the past.
I can say that it has.
Having been a yearbook sponsor, I understand the challenges of getting that
They've done a
funded.
very good job the last few years, really paying attention and taking care, and trying to order what they needed to order.
And also cutting out some costs of the books to have less pages, cut out some of the costs. They've done it over the years as well to bring the cost down, and also, but also provide a book that students are going to be interested in purchasing. The high school book is all color, but it's a smaller book, so that brings the cost down.
Is there a reason that all schools couldn't go with one company? Or is it because of how Wagner does different from middle school?
How Wagner, we did as a separate vendors for high school, middle school, because there are some companies that focus really on the middle school book, which is more of that smaller scale book, not a hardbound, versus the high school. And so one of the vendors that did request, that did put in the request for quotes, not all of them bid on both middle school and high school for that reason.
Any other discussion? All in favor of accepting the agreement for the yearbook vendors for middle and the high school, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
2016 graduation.
The administration recommends that the 2016 graduation ceremony be held once again at the St. Charles Family Arena on Sunday, May 22nd, 2016. The approximate cost at this time for graduation at the St. Charles Family Arena is $40,931, which comes from district funds out of the secondary education budget.
I move we have the graduation in St. Charles at Family Arena.
Second.
Go ahead.
My question.
Motion made by Ms. Hogsett, second by Mr. Schrader. You got it?
My question is this Memorial Day weekend?
It is not. Memorial Day weekend is later. It's the following weekend, the next year.
Any other questions?
I'm just asking for information. Do we have any kind of formal way of polling our community on their feeling about the graduation? I'm just asking.
I haven't done that. We did get some feedback last year from the students and some community members within the school that they certainly advocated
They
for
wanted it. I remember it well.
And I haven't heard anything, not that I formally have asked someone, but I haven't
Okay.
heard any feedback otherwise that they wouldn't want it there again.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty strong last year, that they were very adamant about wanting to be there, so I think it's a wise choice.
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? All in favor of accepting 2016 graduation at the St. Charles Family Arena, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Agenda item 19, fiscal year 2014-2015 audit engagement.
Good evening again. The district's auditing firm, Showalter & Jabori, has submitted an engagement letter for the examination of the district's financial statements for the year ending June 30th, 2015. The examination will audit the district's financial records that include attendance, transportation, and compliance with the federal regulations. Administration is requesting approval to enter into an agreement for the audit services from Showalter & Jabori for the audit for the fiscal year 14-15, and this will be the final year of that contract with Showalter & Jabori. It will be bid out next year.
I move we approve the audit engagement.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hogsett, second by Mr. Schrader. Discussion, questions?
I'm just trying to remember, this is basically the same price, isn't it, in past years?
Yes. I think it was a little bit higher, I can't remember, but not,
I mean,
but not
it's
much.
basically
It's
the
just
same,
small.
it's, you're within $1,000 or
Right.
something.
Any other questions? No? All right, all in favor of the fiscal year 2014-2015 audit engagement, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Mr. O'Neill, talk about boiler and generator replacement at McClure.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
McClure North.
Thank you. We received sealed bids and publicly opened them on March 13th for the replacement of 3 original boilers and 2 original generators at McClure North. One boiler is inoperable at this time and excuse me, not cost effective to repair it at this point. The other 2 have been kept well past their lifespan of 30 to 40 years. They're actually all 45 years old at this point. We've experienced ongoing problems and expenses for repairs with each one of these, and they've reached a point to where we need to replace them. The new units will fit. They're more economical and small. They'll fit on one of the pads of just one of the boilers. All 3 will be on one of the pads. Just the size difference and the efficiency that we'll get out of them now will be so much better. The new units will fit on that, and they're approximately 38% more efficient. That's their estimate. We think it's going to be better because the way we're going to hook them up is going to be a little different, and we believe it's going to be more efficient than that. We've expected to be even higher for those reasons, but the generators, there's 2 at this time, one in the boiler room, and that's run off natural gas, and operates the emergency lights in the building. We've had several issues and problems with that, and again, it's 45 years old, well past its life expectancy, and needs to be replaced. The other is located outside, and it's run off diesel and oil, and if you've ever seen it run, we call it Old Smoky. Most of the time when it kicks on, we get a call to the fire department that the school's on fire. We've tried to fix it as many times as it's just due to be replaced. Again, we're going to be able to do it more efficiently. We'll have one generator to replace both. It'll be outside. It'll be natural gas instead of diesel. So again, it'll be more efficient and have a better life. We had 12 vendors attend our pre-bid meeting and do the walkthrough and look at the generators and boilers. Of those, 3 cast bids. The lowest and most responsible submitted by Bendler Mechanical Company for $489,937 for the boilers and $124,995 for the generator, for a total bid of $614,932. This includes also an automated control system, computer system which runs the heating and cooling system there. The next lowest bid was $557,642 higher. So at this time, we request approval to enter into agreement with the Bendler Mechanical Company.
I move we approve for the boiler generator replacement.
Second.
Mr. Brown beat you.
He's on my bad side.
Any discussion?
Yes. Many years ago, we had a power outage at McClure North, and all the students were dismissed. It started right before school started, like 2 minutes before school started. Kids were all in class, and we sat around for an hour or so waiting to find out what was going to happen. They dismissed the kids and sent them all home. Got the buses back, sent them off. And a month later or so, I run into a couple of our electricians down there, and they're working. I ask them what they're doing, and they say, well, we're hooking up some extra lights to the generator. I said, well, that sounds great. Sounds great. My comment to them was, why don't you hook up the intercom so we can actually hear during those power outages? They didn't do that. I think it's be prudent to attach the intercoms to the power generators so that the principal can then not have to walk through the halls of a 235,000 square foot building with a bullhorn. So that's my comment on.
We'll definitely look at that.
Generator.
And my question is, have we worked with Bendler Mechanical before?
We have not. Our engineers have, and they've also done their research on them, done the background check, and checked the references.
So we do have confidence. It's a little spooky when it's that much cheaper than everybody else.
Yes, we do.
The other question is the outside generator going to be in the same location?
Yes, it'll be in the same location.
Okay, that's...
Speaking of the outside generator,
yeah,
it's an ugly eyesore in the outside of that building.
I was, Paul and I are old enough and been around long enough to remember that supposedly that generator was going to be someplace else, and it ended up being right where you walk into the building. And I don't know how much it costs to try to find a more reclusive location for it, perhaps. It was just a shock to us that taught there at the time that it landed where it was. And of course, being a stinky smoker made it even worse, so. At least if it doesn't smoke, we'll be happy about that. I don't know if it's possible to put it someplace else, but.
We can certainly look at that. One of the things we do want to do, we were trying to use the existing pad.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm always trying to save $1.
I understand that part too.
Terry, the natural gas runs quieter
Absolutely.
than the diesel, obviously.
And the diesel one really just ran the elevator. So.
Yeah, anything you can do to improve the look of that wooden fence around.
I'll take a look at what, if the expense is minimal to move, we can look at that. I'm not sure we could look at the expense of moving it. I don't know what that would be, but if it's minimal, we can look at that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor of accepting the bid for the boiler and generator replacement at McClure North High, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
Thank you.
And just one last question, which old age and this forget. Is this coming out of our past bond issue or is it coming out of I?
That's the current one.
It's coming out of the current one. Okay, so we haven't already spent money that we just got.
Not yet.
Thank you.
I'm working on it though.
I understand. I understand that.
Good thing it passed.
Dr. McMillan, the 2015-2016 administrator contracts.
Members of the Board of Education, this evening we bring forward to you a list of administrators for next year that we're requesting rehiring.
I move we approve the administrator's contracts.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hogshead, second by Mr. Schrader. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the 2015-2016 administrator contract, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. LaRue, East-West Gateway Council of Governments All Hazard Mitigation Plan. Sounds exciting. Good reading?
No. It's recommended that the board adopt the East-West Gateway Council of Governments All Hazards Mitigation Plan for the next 5 years, 2015 through 2012 or 2020. FEMA requires local governments and school districts to adopt an updated plan by resolution of the governing body every 5 years. By adoption of the plan, the district will be eligible to apply for federal or state financial aid to assist in implementing pre-disaster mitigation projects within the district. And the last piece of this is something that our Director of Safety and Security tacked on, that it is also recommended that after approving this resolution, that members of the board consider taking this ICS 100 Incident Command System training. It's offered online through the Missouri State Emergency Agency.
I move that we approve.
Have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the East-West Gateway Council of Governments All Hazards Mitigation Plan, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, ayes have it.
I move we adjourn to executive session.
Have a second? Second made by Mr. Brown. Mr. Moore.
Favorite. Aye. Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Schrader.
Aye.
Secretary was aye. Ms. Hogshead. And Mr. President.
Aye. I'd like to get started about 9:45. We've got several items to cover tonight. Love to be at home by 1 a.m.